Hey guys, it's Nick here. I'm making this video because for a couple reasons. One, I'm going back into the studio tomorrow to record with our band, and two, I wanted to say goodbye to someone who recently passed away, and his name is Brad Fuller. Now, you may not know his name, but you're most likely familiar with the music he's done for video games. So, let's take a list here. Marble Madness, the arcade game. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Gauntlet 2, 720 Degrees, APB, Zybots, Cyberball, Tetris, both the arcade and the unlicensed NES version, Tubin, also for arcade and NES, Vindicators, Badlands, Clax, Skull and Crossbones, Stun Runner, Rampart, and so many others. Road Blasters, RBI Baseball 2 and 3 for the NES. He was one of the many people responsible behind those brilliant soundtracks. And he passed away on the 2nd from pancreatic cancer. Now, I actually got to talk to Brad Fuller on the phone a long time ago. I'd say I was still in high school when I did it, so probably like 4 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago. And now, when I first talked to him, he was like, okay, well, can I call you back later? And I thought, yeah, sure. And, he hung up, and I thought, oh, crap, I scared him off. I must have said something, and he didn't like it, and now he's never going to talk to me again. But, now, I'd actually exchanged emails with him before. In fact, I still have those emails on my, anyways, so I thought, well, I scared him away, and, but anyway, I called him because I sent him an email and he either didn't get it or didn't reply or something, so I ended up calling him because his website had a phone number, so I'm like, oh, why not? So, yeah, I gave him a call, and, he asked if he called me back, and I thought I scared him away, and to my surprise, he did call back. I don't remember when, but it was the same day, I think maybe like an hour or two later, and we talked about, RPM, which was the name of the sound engine that they used at Atari, and we were talking about, like, I was asking him, I also wanted to know some, because that was at that time I realized the NES version of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was the only game Tengen developed for the NES without credits, and I thought, well, I wonder who did the sound conversion. I mean, I know it's John Williams music, and it's from the arcade version, but, did Brad, he didn't work on the arcade version, but I knew he was, like, the Atari's main sound guy, so I asked him if he did Temple of Doom, and he said yes, he did. So that was pretty cool, and and I made sure, like NES version, yes, but yeah, we were talking about RPM, and and I was asking him, well, how do you make NES music? Because at the time I was more interested in NES music, and he said, well, RPM was converted to the NES. And I was asking him, well, do you know who programmed it? He didn't know. Now I'm suspecting it's Lisa Ching. She programs sound engines, and now some other Atari composers I talked to, one of them told me like she converted RPM to the Sega Genesis, which is perfect because they're both FM synth chips. But he said like only the major composers at Atari got to use the software, and that this composer wasn't even allowed to see the software. So Brad Fuller could use it, but this guy couldn't. So it's pretty interesting stuff. But now. I wish I knew he had cancer. I would have at least, said goodbye to him, but, I didn't know. For what I knew, he was in good health. I never heard about him having cancer. Somebody said that Brad said he didn't want anyone to know, although then I saw he listed on his website. Well, I've never really been to his website before. It's been a while. So we lost one of the most talented video game musicians, I believe. When you can make stuff like, like I even sent Brad some like remixes I did of his music, and he liked it, so that was pretty cool. Last time I messaged him was earlier in 2015. I was asking him about Afterburner on the NES, because I thought, I didn't know if Tengen made it or not. I just asked, and he said, well, I'm not familiar with that title, so probably wasn't him. I think it was Sunsoft. They did the NES version as well, I believe, when I checked the sound code for the sound engines. But anyways, so we had a nice chat. I don't remember how long we talked, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour or something, but it was really was such a great guy. I mean, he answered anything he could, and he wasn't a jerk about it, and I appreciate that. Um, and his compositions will always be remembered. I think Marble Madness is debatably the best soundtrack he did. But that's not all. You know what the best part about Brad Fuller is? He was the first composer to write arcade music on an FM synthesis chip. Um, Now, Paperboy, he said in an interview that Paperboy and Marble Madness were actually made at the same exact time, but Paperboy was being worked on, so they um they they worked on that longer, and then they released Marble Madness. And he said he actually did work on Paperboy, even though he's not credited in the game. And he was talking about Atari and why they kept credits out of their games and why they put them in their games. Most of the arcade games, you either have to beat the game or wait after the demos to get the credits. So for Batman, I remember I had to wait an extremely long time to get the credits in there. But but yeah, I mean, it was really interesting. And the way RPM worked is, he said that he had to use write in music macro language or music V language. Music macro language is like you've seen sheet music, right? Well, it's the same exact thing, except you're writing it in a text document. You're not writing it on actual sheet music paper. Now, he was talking about how exactly the music worked and how he came up with music for the game, like whether the producer would do it or if he'd write something or he'd think of something. For example, like in Tengen Tetris, there's Lojinska is named after Ed Log, the programmer, who would always tell Brad that he could do whatever he wanted, but would suggest certain sound effects that he'd make or something. And then Bradinsky was, of course, named after Brad himself. So that was pretty cool. Now, I'll put it in the description. There's an hour interview. If you have an hour to kill, they do an actual video interview with Brad Fuller, and he talks about so many interesting things about the company I didn't even think about. So if you have time to check that out, definitely do so. I could say the only good thing is we still have most of the other Atari Sound members alive. Don Deeknight, that's how Brad pronounced it. John Paul, Jean Parson, or he called her Jeannie Parson, but I thought it was Jean Parson. I hope I said that right. I talked to her once, about Area 51. I love that soundtrack. Too bad, you can't get it anymore. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting talking to the Atari Sound team, and it's cool that they're so open about it too. They don't really keep anything secret. So, anyways, so I'll post that in the description. But wherever you are, Brad, if you can somehow see this video, rest in peace. Thank you for taking time out of your day to talk to me. I know I'm not really worth your time, but you did it anyway, and I honestly do appreciate that. And words can't express my gratitude. And I wish I recorded our phone conversation. If I knew he was near death, I would have recorded it, without him knowing. But, it's like, no, it's wrong. And I thought, well, he's going to be alive longer. I'll just call him again if I really want to. And John Paul for Video Game Music Preservation Foundation, he agreed to do an interview with me, and he never wrote back. So he actually lives in the same state as me. He lives kind of far away, but I mean, hopefully our paths cross someday. But yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't get my email, but I did try to ask him for an interview on our site, and he said, yeah, I'll do it, and he never did. So, nothing against him though. I mean, if he didn't want to do it, if he was nervous, that's fine. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Seriously, give the video, go watch the video. It's awesome. So, anyways, peace out.